Alright, I think I've waited long enough. I think it's time for me to review the rest of 5 Years Later, chapters 3 through 5. This video will be a little bit more relaxed and unscripted. The first review I did, I basically started writing the script before I read the comics. Then I read issue 1, wrote the summary and my thoughts on it. Then I read issue 2, and I did that. This time, though, I just read all 3 issues back to back, and now I'm just going to tell you guys my thoughts on all the issues of the comics so far. So I hope you guys like this video, and I'm probably not going to edit the audio either. So you get ready to hear some more ums and ehs and ahs, whatever. So, issue 3 begins where issue 2 ended, where Vlad shows up and is super menacing and stuff. And now all characters are like, oh, it's time to fight and whatever against Vlad before he does something evil and whatever. and uh, so, Danny, before he could go ghost again, Vlad throws a new piece of technology that stops him. And then he goes and grabs Ben before he can turn into an alien and takes a quick look at the Omnitrix. Yeah. He wonders if the Omnitrix also exists within the Danny Phantom universe, which I suppose would be an interesting plot point to continue in a later issue. I don't know. Whatever. Whatever. Kind of cool, I guess. And Ben kicks Vlad in the face, and it's awesome. And as he falls, he then turns into a brand new alien. I think his name is Slingshot. Um, yeah, he looks like a Benton alien. Okay. And then as he's flying up, then he turns into 4 arms and punches Vlad in the face. Or it tries to, but Vlad deflects him, throwing him at a building. Ugh, just stronger than he looks. There's my bad impression of 4 arms. I'm feeling kind of sick right now again, so can't really do the best 4 arms voice right now. I need to drink some more water today. Whatever. And then Danny finally goes ghost. I guess the effects of Vlad's device wore off. And starts shooting lasers at Vlad. Oh, it's so scary. He breaks through Vlad's shield or whatever. Tries to laser beam him in the face. And it just kind of does nothing to him. I guess, like, he grabbed onto one of Vlad's clones and killed it. And then Vlad shows up right behind him, and they continued to talk to each other, talking about stuff. And then he uses a new power called the Phantom Flame, which, okay, whatever. Just kind of curious about like this power because Danny already had ice powers, and now he's got fire powers. Is he going to learn earth bending and energy bending next, or water bending? I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I know that it was inspired though by a picture that Butch Hartman made. Nah, I don't really care. It's just the Human Torch. And then Vlad uses the ghostly whale, which was Danny's most powerful attack, and Vlad has never used it before. So that's kind of cool, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Whatever. Cool. Yeah, he does a lot of damage with it. I really wonder, like, if Vlad used the ghost whale in the show, like, what would it sound like? Because Vlad obviously has a much deeper voice than Danny, and I I just imagine reading the book that his ghost whale sounds exactly like Danny's, and that'd just be plain weird. I don't know. It's hard to imagine. I guess. I don't know. And then whenever he uses the ghost wheel, Ben rescues Danny as another new alien. I think they called him Slampede or Slampedal, something like that. Yeah. And Vlad continues to use the ghostly whale, and they trying to shield it, and Ben using his new alien, who I guess is another super speed alien, and he rams into him. Like, I know his power was like he can charge up like a battery ram attack and whatever, and just hitting somebody with his large cranium blasts them away. But like, is he another speedster as well? I doubt so much that he could go as fast to accelerate and fast track, but I don't know. Just something to think about. I don't know. And Day punches Vlad in the face after Ben hits him with with Slampedal, whatever his name is. And yeah, then Ben turns into Chroma Stone and flies after them while they're fighting. And I guess, like, they say here that apparently Chroma Stone can't absorb. Like, Chroma Stone's power in the show is that he can't absorb and deflect lasers and whatever, any energy based attack, but for some reason he just can't do it with ghost energy and whatever. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I don't know. I would assume that Crystal Sapiens could absorb ecto energy or whatever it is. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, Ben then turns back to human form and he's falling for this guy, and then Danny quickly saves him. And now Ben's using the Omnitrix to try to like analyze the situation, whatever. I guess the Omnitrix can do that now. Yeah. Am I doing a really bad job summarizing this? I don't even know. I don't know. I'm really tired right now. Yeah. So Ben goes and saves some people by turning into Accelerate. And, like, there's this one picture right here that just looks really weird with Accelerate. Like, his face looks kind of fine, but his arms are so small. It's weird, and his hands are just weird. It's a weird picture. Not very good. And Ben also gives Danny a communicator so they can continue to talk to each other right here. And yeah, Vlad uses like a shadow clone or whatever, and that uses it to remove the Spectre Deflector that Danny put on him. Was it called the Spectre Deflector? I don't. Yeah, it is. I'm stupid. I'm sorry, guys. And yeah, Danny chases after Vlad, fighting each other through the sky, and they got extra long ghost tails for some reason. Yeah, and just beating each other. Senseless. Danny references a nickname that Vlad was called in an episode. I'm pretty sure, like, Danny calls him a Fruit Loop, which I'm pretty sure his sister Jazz calls him in the episode right after the Ultimate Enemy, whenever jazz tales, whatever. Just watch the show. I don't need to tell you guys everything that happened in these shows, do I? I don't know. Please give me criticism in the comments of my video. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not going to edit any of this audio out. So, yeah. Anyway, so fighting some more, and Vlad cuts down a hybrid weather tower, which Kuro has said has been repurposed to be using to just control the weather by every normal person ever. I don't know. Whatever. Cool idea, I guess, but just why would this still be around? I don't. Let's just try to think of some lore explanation for this. Like, okay, 5 years after the hybrid war, 6 years, whatever it is, the hybrid then returned to Earth for because reasons, and they decide to just as an extra apology for the whole hybrid war that happened 6 years ago, they just gave them one of their weather towers to just use. Like, here's a brand new weather tower. Hope you guys like it. We're going back to our homeworld now. Bye. And, yeah, Danny then stops this broken down now weather tower, and he saves Butch Hartman, the creator of Danny Fenton. He meets his own creator right here, and saves everybody. Hooray. And then Butch Hartman mistakenly calls Danny Phantom Ben. Which, here's something real quick. For some reason, whenever I'm reading this book, like, I keep confusing Danny and Ben's voices for some reason. So a lot of times whenever I'm reading Danny, I'm just hearing Yuri Lowenfall's Ben voice. Really bad mistake. I'm sorry, guys. Whatever. And yeah, they just keep thinking that everybody in Bellwood just thinks that Danny is Ben for some reason. Even other aliens. It's very strange. And yeah. And we get another shot of Accelerate. This one being much cooler, I guess. And for some reason now, Accelerate's mask looks like the Omnitrix for some reason. His visor. Weird. But cool, I guess. And then Vlad pulls Danny into the sewers and continue to fight each other. Fighting and fighting and fighting. And then Danny turns the Spectre Deflector into a sword. It's just kind of weird. I don't know. Guess it's cool. I'm not sure, though. And yet they continue the fighting until they get to, I guess, the deserts outside of La Soledad. Am I even pronouncing that right? I don't know. I guess that's where they are. And continue to fighting, punching each other into the face until Ben shows up as Gravitack. And for some reason, his gravity powers work on Vlad. Like, because you can't phase through gravity. I don't know. Does gravity even have any effect on Ghost whenever they're flying through the air in, like, the show? Very, very weird. I guess it does, because in one episode, in order for Danny to fly into space, he needed a jetpack. But, I don't know, it's just very strange. I don't know. It's weird. And yeah. So they beat him up a little bit more. And then Eon shows up and saves Vlad and stops time while he does it. And then, yeah. This is based, like, Danny and Ben talk to each other to have a fist bump. super cool. They're friends already. Hooray! Yeah, cool. I guess. And then it cuts to the plumber's bait. That the squad from the previous issue is supposed to be protecting right now. This ties in with issue 5. And then we see something break out of the base. What is it? Oh, it's Gert from Invader Zim. Just, why not? Add Invader Zim to this crossover event. Just, why not? Ah. Yeah, I'll be talking a little bit more about my feelings on Invader Zim's inclusion once when we recap issue 4. I don't like that Invader Zim's in this comic. Yeah. Let me go to the website. Yeah, click on issue 4, The False Gods. So here's whenever we start learning some more about Eon's backstory, because apparently it wasn't fleshed out enough in the TV show, so everybody's like, we want to know more about Eon, please tell us more about Eon. Alright, fine, I'm going to dedicate my entire comic book series to revealing more info on Eon, make him the main villain, for some reason. I don't really like Eon, I just don't like the live-action Benton movies in general, which is when Eon first showed up, and I don't like his first appearance in the show Benton Falcon Returns, and then in Benton Omniverse, I feel like they made Eon cooler, but not a more interesting character. Like, they gave them a much cooler character design than in Ultimate Alien, and Judd Nelson's voice for Eon, his performance was also really good. I honestly like him more as Eon than as Rodimus in Transformers. And yeah, so anyway, so here we see Eon's home planet, which never appeared in the show, I don't think. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen Benton Race Against Time, just so you know. Been many years, because I don't like that movie. Yeah. So we see Eon's alien race. I guess there's just... It's all very weird. Fleshing out Eon's character to me is just not very necessary because he wasn't very interesting to begin with. I don't know. I do think a lot of Benton's fan base does like Eon and the live action movies. I'm not a fan of them. I'm just an animation guy. The only live action movie franchises I even care about is just Star Wars and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. No, it's just gotta watch more movies, I guess. Whatever. And yeah, they talk about how their alien race is dying and they need the hands of Armageddon in order to save themselves. And all that jazz. And they send Eon, who's a lot younger here, to go get the hands of Armageddon and do something that happened in the movie. Don't really remember what he was trying to do. Yeah, and then we get to see Zim's house and Zim's dimension. And here we see my favorite villain from Danny Fenton, Technis, working with Dr. Animo from Benton. And now Dr. Animo has like a much more robotic body with animal arm attachments. Weird, but you know, he's like, okay, with Benton Falcon, we get to see that Dr. Animo has lost his body and now has a gorilla body and just has his head inside of a vial attached to it. Yeah, so this is kind of close to that gorilla body. I don't really care. I just kind of wish that Dr. Animo wasn't the gorilla body to begin with in this book. And just like the problem I was having with Danny and Ben keeping their voices separate, I keep reading Technis with Dr. Animo's voice, which makes me very sad. Probably because everything he says in this book doesn't end with an exclamation point like it does in the show. uh, I don't know. And my favorite part of this issue is whenever Technus sees Vlad and starts making fun of him, whatever. Hey! What happened to you? Ran into that phantom brat again? Whatever. I love Technus. Use more Technus, please. Technus deserves more, love by the fandom. I don't know. Really glad that Technus is in this book. Thank you, Kuro, for using him. And they're talking, and all the guys are talking to Eon, and again they're in Zim's base for some reason, and talking to Zim on a computer, and disassembling Gur. What monsters? They're monsters. And they keep questioning Eon and whatever. Like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Why should we trust you? Whatever. Fine, then. I'm just going to tell you my entire backstory. Whatever. So, yeah, blah, 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 blah. I've been trying to get the Omnitrix because every time I time travel, I get older and stuff. So I need the Omnitrix in order to get older and stuff. And I keep failing and failing, and eventually I won in that one movie, kind of. Yeah, but then I had to get even more alternate reality bends because my body keeps dying, and I need to constantly keep switching my body with Tennyson's. And eventually I start thinking I'm Ben and whatever. Yeah, all of these retcons to Eon, it's just like, I like to think that he was always Ben, and he just, like, eventually just, like, after his Omnitrix was destroyed, he was then permanently trapped in his Chronalian form, and then he started working with the Chronarians because he started liking them. He just prefers them over the human race at this point by the time Benton Race Against Time begins. That's my idea of Eon's backstory, basically. He was Ben, that the Omnitrix was destroyed, and he was trapped in Eon's form, and then he just started working with the Chronalians. And then, of course, he starts hunting all the other Ben Tennysons to make his own army of Ben 10s. And, yeah. And then all the stuff in Omniverse happens. Whatever. Doesn't really matter. Yeah, speaking of, like, Ben 10 Ultimate Alien, like, how, I didn't like, I did like how they, at the, ow, I can make an entire separate video talking about my feelings on how Eon and Ben 10,000 were used in Ultimate Alien. I don't need to do that right now. Whatever. I'll talk about it later in another video. And now Eon explains the purposes for getting most of his henchmen, Dr. Animo for his biological alterations, Technus due to his technopathic abilities, and then Zim's reason is just because, hey, I want to use your base. Zim does not need to be in this comic book, okay? Kuro the Artist's reasoning is because the reason why he decided to make this comic was because Ben 10 and Danny Fenton were a little bit mistreated by their networks towards the end of their shows' runs. So he felt the need to put Invader Zim in here because Invader Zim was canceled in the middle of production for season 2. And so he just felt the need to give Invader Zim some love. And then he found out, oh, they're making an Invader Zim movie, and it's coming out hopefully this year. Well, I better change my story. So now he's trying to minimize this Invader Zim's use in the comic, but I wish that Invader Zim wasn't here to begin with. The Invader Zim TV series was mainly supposed to be a parody of horror and sci-fi movies, and it was never supposed to be serious. This comic is treating itself as an ultra serious continuation of of Benton and Danny Phantom. Invader Zim doesn't belong here. With the Invader Zim comic series, which I love, like the creator of the show, Joan Vasquez, created the Invader Zim comic series because he wanted to tell new stories involving Invader Zim, and I don't think he had that much interest in like giving the proper conclusion to his show's story. So Invader Zim's book is even funnier than the TV show itself, and I love it. Invader Zim doesn't need to be in this book. They haven't even told a single joke involving these characters yet. They don't need to be here unless if they're here for comedy's sake. And Gur hasn't even done anything stupid yet. What's going on with Gur? Is he actually working properly now? No. Just no. Invader Zim doesn't need to be here. Honestly, I just, and like the reasoning of like, oh, we're using his base of operations. Why do you even need to keep him alive then? I suppose you're going to answer that in a future issue or whatever, but Invader Zim doesn't need to be here. Eon should have evaporated him immediately and then stole his base. And he even could have just destroyed the Earth entirely, and he could have made his base of operations planet Urk, whatever. And so he doesn't even need to have a base on Earth. I don't know. I am interested to see what he'll do with Zim as the book goes forward, but as of right now, I don't even want him to be in this comic. This video has already gone on for 27 minutes, it looks like. Dang it. That's way too much editing. Oh no. Oh man. So, yeah, the issue just kind of ends here. Technis gives Vlad a new costume to use. Kind of like how Technis created Valerie's new costume in season 2 of Danny Phantom. And yeah, that's where the comic ends. Okay. This video's gone on for 27 minutes. I really wanted to cover all the remaining 3 issues of 5 years later, but it looks like I'm going to end it now. So, yeah, I'll see you guys next time with part 3 of my review of 5 years later for chapter 5 and maybe chapter 6 if it comes out of anytime soon. And then I kind of want to still do a video going over all the character redesigns for Ben's Aliens at least. And I got a couple of other ideas for 5 years later videos. So I hope you guys love this video, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.